Close your eyes for a moment. Now imagine if nothing anyone said could ever disturb your peace again. Every insult, every judgment, every criticism just slides away, leaving you calm, clear, and free. Imagine a world where the judgments of others simply do not touch you. Picture waking up and realizing that criticism, envy, or disapproval have no power over your heart. Like water sliding off a duck's feathers, negativity bounces away, leaving your mind untouched, calm, and free. In this world, the opinions that once haunted you, the whispers of doubt and comparison, no longer have a place. They drift past like leaves carried on a gentle stream, and you remain anchored in a quiet center that no storm can shake. Take a moment and breathe in that feeling, the relief of not needing to defend yourself, the freedom of being untangled from the expectations of everyone around you. How would your day look if no one else's words could dictate your mood, your choices, your peace? This is not some distant fantasy. It is a subtle invitation, a glimpse of what life could be like if you learn to cultivate a mind resilient to distraction and disturbance. Close your eyes for a second and imagine your own inner space, a sanctuary untouched by chaos. Here, thoughts arise and pass without dragging you into turmoil. You witness the world without judgment, and yet your heart is open, sensitive, and compassionate. This is the kind of freedom the teachings of Buddhism whisper to us, a space within where clarity and peace coexist, even when the outside world is noisy or harsh. Every person on this planet is carrying unseen burdens. Everyone encounters criticism, unfair treatment, and moments that sting. But imagine being able to hold those moments lightly, like a feather floating on air, without letting them sink into your heart. This is a gift few truly practice, yet it is available to anyone willing to pause, breathe, and notice the patterns of thought that tighten the mind. In this video, we are gently opening the door to 9 profound teachings from Buddhism. These lessons are not abstract ideas. They are invitations to experience a life less disturbed, more lucid, and deeply nourishing. They offer glimpses of a mind that can stand unmoved by fleeting judgments, a heart that can hold kindness even toward those who criticize, and an inner space where calm and clarity are cultivated like a garden. You do not have to be perfect or enlightened to begin this practice. Simply noticing that freedom is possible is the first step. Let yourself dwell in this vision for a moment, feeling the release of unnecessary weight, the softening of tension, the quiet smile of understanding that life can feel lighter than you ever thought. This is a small taste of the journey we are about to explore, a hint that true peace is not somewhere outside, but always waiting inside, ready to be recognized, nurtured, and embraced. By letting this possibility settle in your mind, you prepare yourself to receive the 9 lessons that follow. Not as rules to follow, but as gentle guidance to awaken wisdom, compassion, and inner calm that are always within reach. Take this moment. Feel the subtle shift, and allow yourself to imagine a life where the noise of the world no longer controls the rhythm of your heart. We will begin the first part of today's video with the theme, Learning Not to Hate Those Who Hate Us. At first glance, this sounds simple, almost obvious. But when we truly reflect, we realize it is one of the most difficult yet essential lessons on the path toward genuine inner peace. Because in life, none of us can avoid criticism, rejection, or even cruel discrimination. And naturally, when we face these moments, our hearts ache. We feel the sting of injustice, the weight of being misunderstood, and slowly anger begins to rise like a hidden fire. That is the human reaction. That is the truth of our fragile emotions. Yet if we let this cycle of hate take over, we chain ourselves to endless suffering. The real path to peace never lies in revenge or nurturing hatred. Ancient wisdom reminds us, if you repay hatred with hatred, hatred will never end. Only love, compassion, and forgiveness can break that chain. When we decide not to return cruelty with cruelty, we give ourselves the most precious gift, freedom of the soul. Those who pour hate upon us are often not truly hating us. They are wrestling with their own wounds, their fears, and their misunderstandings. Many times we are merely mirrors reflecting back the turmoil inside of them. And when we understand this, something extraordinary happens. Our hearts become lighter. Think of it this way. A person lost in darkness cannot see clearly. They stumble, they lash out, they hurt others unintentionally. If we too choose to walk into their darkness, both of us remain blind. But if we carry a light of patience, kindness, and compassion, we not only protect our own path, but may also illuminate theirs. That is how we guard our inner peace. Refusing to absorb the negativity of others is not weakness, it is the greatest strength. For only those who master their own hearts can truly walk freely. Imagine someone throwing a stone at you. If you quickly pick it up and throw it back, violence only multiplies. The circle of anger spins endlessly. But if you let the stone fall, if you smile and keep walking, you disarm them without a single word. You may even awaken shame or reflection within their own conscience. That silent response is not cowardice. It is victory, the most noble victory, the victory over ourselves. Of course, none of this is easy. Not hating those who hate us does not mean we allow others to hurt us forever. It does not mean we must accept what is unjust. Rather, it is a choice. We do not let another's wounds become our wounds. We set boundaries, we protect our well-being, but we refuse to surrender our hearts to bitterness. Life already has enough pain. Why should we carry an extra burden by holding grudges? When someone speaks harshly, when their words cut into us, we can gently remind ourselves, this is only the echo of their suffering. It is not my truth. In that moment, we reclaim our freedom. We step out of the prison of hate and walk into the light of compassion. Every time we practice patience, every time we choose love over revenge, we are not only healing ourselves, but also contributing to a world with less anger, less violence, and more peace. Perhaps our act of forgiveness will not change the other person immediately, but it will change us. And when we change, the way we see the world changes too. So, as we begin this first part of our journey today, remember to not hate those who hate us is not simply a moral teaching. It is a profound practice of liberation. It allows us to walk lightly, to breathe deeply, and to live with a heart unburdened by the weight of resentment. And that truly is the first step toward real freedom. When we let go of the burden of hatred, our hearts become lighter. And in that very lightness, we are ready to embrace the next lesson, the gentle strength of humility, a quiet power that can transform the way we see ourselves and how we connect with the world. A person is not called wise because they speak much, but because they embody peace, love, and fearlessness in the way they live. True wisdom is not about the number of books we read, the debates we win, or the cleverness of our speech. It is found in the quiet strength of humility, in the way we listen more than we speak, in the way we treat others with dignity, and in the courage to admit that we do not know everything. Humility is not weakness. It is the soil where true greatness can grow. To be humble is to recognize that intelligence does not only dwell in language, but also in action, in presence, and in kindness. A gentle gesture of care, a patient response in the face of provocation, or a simple willingness to listen deeply. These often carry more wisdom than 1,000 words. When we live with humility, our lives themselves become the message, a testimony far more powerful than eloquence. Pride builds walls, but humility breaks them down. Pride tells us we already know, so we stop listening. Humility reminds us that every person, no matter their background, has something to teach us. And in this openness, we discover deeper connections. We begin to hear not just the words spoken, but the feelings behind them. We learn to see beyond appearances and step into the world of another with empathy. In this space of true understanding, harmony can grow. Humility is not about diminishing ourselves or pretending to be less than we are. It is about seeing ourselves clearly, our strengths and our flaws, and embracing the truth that we are part of something greater than our own ego. The humble heart does not need to boast, for it shines naturally through its authenticity. It does not crave recognition, because its joy is found in service, in kindness, and in the quiet impact it leaves on others. Think of water. It is soft, yielding, and humble. It always flows to the lowest places. Yet nothing is more powerful. Over time, water carves valleys, nourishes fields, and sustains life itself. In the same way, humility, though gentle, has the power to transform the hardest of hearts. It dissolves conflicts, heals relationships, and creates spaces where trust can blossom. Those who practice humility often become an inspiration without even trying. Their presence is like a calming light in a storm, a reminder that we do not have to dominate to be strong, nor shout to be heard. People are drawn to them, not because of titles or achievements, but because their spirit carries peace. And in their humility, others find hope. Imagine a world where humility guided our interactions. Leaders would listen before they command. Friends would seek to understand before they judge. Families would choose patience over pride. Such a world would not be free of struggles, but it would be filled with more healing, more compassion, and more unity. Humility gives us freedom from the endless need to prove ourselves, from the exhausting chase for validation, from the prison of ego. When we live humbly, we realize that true strength is not measured by how high we stand above others, but by how deeply we can bow in love and understanding. So as we continue on this journey today, let us carry with us this gentle strength. Humility is not a weakness to be ashamed of. It is a power that lifts others while keeping our own hearts grounded. And when we practice it sincerely, we do not just enrich our own lives, we become a quiet inspiration, a light that guides others toward peace. Having embraced the gentle strength of humility, our spirit becomes both softer and stronger. And with this new inner balance, we will move into the next part of our journey today, living free from the control of others. For life is too precious to be dictated by the voices around us. It is a gift meant to be lived authentically, guided by the wisdom within. Life often feels like a long walk through a forest, with many paths stretching out in different directions. Along the way, countless voices echo, some offering advice, others passing judgment, and many insisting that they know the right way. While listening can bring insight, the danger lies in surrendering your direction to those voices. If you let others decide your path, you may reach a destination, but it might not be your own. True freedom begins when you choose to focus on the present moment and trust your own intuition. Deep down, you already carry an inner compass, an unshakable sense of what aligns with your values and what does not. This compass may not always lead you toward the easiest or most popular road, but it will lead you toward the most meaningful one. Imagine standing at a crossroads in the forest. One path is broad and filled with people urging you to join them. Another path is narrow, quiet, and uncertain. The crowd insists that their way is safer, faster, and better. Yet your heart quietly points elsewhere. In moments like this, courage means following that inner voice even when it feels uncomfortable, even when you walk alone for a while. For the greatest journeys are not those where we please others, but those where we remain true to ourselves. Not letting others control your life does not mean rejecting all guidance or shutting yourself away. Wisdom can be found in listening, but listening is not the same as obeying. The balance is to receive input with gratitude, reflect honestly, and then decide bravely. Keep what resonates with your heart, release what does not, and always remember, at the end of your life, it is your footprints that will mark the path, not theirs. This way of living requires confidence. At times, choosing your own path may lead to criticism, misunderstanding, or even loneliness. People may question your choices or pressure you to conform. But confidence is not the absence of doubt. It is the willingness to move forward despite it. Each time you act in alignment with your values, you reinforce your inner strength. Each time you trust yourself, you grow more grounded and resilient. And with this confidence comes peace. When you stop allowing the voices of others to dictate your life, you no longer chase their approval. Instead, you discover the joy of alignment, the happiness that comes from living in harmony with who you truly are. This kind of freedom does not make you arrogant. It makes you whole. It allows you to stand tall, not because others agree, but because you are living honestly. Think of a tree in the forest. It does not ask the other trees how it should grow. It bends toward the sunlight in its own way, digs roots where the soil allows, and stretches upward with quiet strength. No two trees grow alike, yet together they form a beautiful forest. In the same way, when you live free from the control of others, you contribute your unique beauty to the world. So as you walk forward, remember, this is your life. Others may journey beside you, but they cannot walk for you. Their voices may guide, but they must not control. Trust your heart, honor your values, and have the courage to follow your own road. For when you do, you not only find freedom, you discover the strength to live with confidence, authenticity, and peace. After learning to walk our own path without being controlled by the voices of others, another essential practice awaits us on this journey. And so we will move into the next part of our reflection today, the art of listening more than speaking. For in a world filled with endless noise, true listening has become a rare and transformative gift. To listen deeply is not merely to hear words, but to understand their essence. It requires us to step beyond the surface of language and perceive the emotions, the fears, and the hopes hidden within. Too often we listen only to prepare our reply, not to truly receive what is being said. Yet when we shift from hearing to understanding, we create space for compassion, wisdom, and healing to arise. Think of the last time someone genuinely listened to you, not interrupting, not rushing to judge, but holding silence as a safe space. In that moment, didn't you feel lighter, seen, and valued? That is the quiet power of listening. It tells the other person, you matter. Your experience is real. I honor your voice. Such listening requires patience and humility, but its impact can change lives. Listening is more than a gift to others. It is also a profound teacher for ourselves. By listening carefully, we begin to notice patterns in the world and within our own minds. We hear not only the words of people, but also the subtle whispers of nature, the rustle of leaves, the rhythm of rain, the silence of dawn. These sounds remind us that everything is connected, that life flows in harmony, and that we too belong to this great web of existence. When we practice listening, we develop empathy. We begin to sense what others feel, even when they cannot find the words to express it. We learn to stand in their shoes, to touch their struggles and their joys. This empathy dissolves the walls of separation, bringing us closer to one another. In a world divided by noise, listening becomes an act of love. But true listening also extends inward. Too often we drown in external voices and forget to hear the quiet wisdom within ourselves. There is a stillness inside, like a calm lake, that reflects the truth of who we are. By pausing, breathing, and paying attention, we can listen to our own hearts. We discover what we truly need, what we fear, and what we long for. This inner listening is the foundation of peace. Listening also teaches us humility. It reminds us that wisdom does not always come from speaking much, but from understanding deeply. A wise person is not measured by the number of words they say, but by the depth of their awareness. When we listen more than we speak, we allow life itself to reveal its lessons. Imagine a conversation where two people are speaking over each other, both eager to be heard, but neither willing to listen. The result is confusion, frustration, and disconnection. Now imagine the same conversation where one person pauses, gives full attention, and receives the other with openness. The result is trust, clarity, and connection. Such is the transformative difference listening makes. In silence, we also hear the interconnectedness of all things. Listening shows us that our words ripple into the world like stones dropped into a pond. It teaches us responsibility, to speak with care, and to choose silence when silence heals more than speech. In this way, listening cultivates both compassion and wisdom. So let us remember, to listen more than we speak is not to diminish ourselves, but to expand our hearts. It allows us to grow in empathy, to nurture peace within, and to recognize the bonds that unite us with others, with nature, and with life itself. In listening, we not only honor the voices around us, we rediscover the voice of our own soul. Having learned the quiet power of listening more than speaking, we now come to a truth that challenges us at the very core of our human experience. And so, we will move into the next part of our reflection today, embracing the worst to find peace. For only when we face life's darkest moments with acceptance can we truly discover freedom and resilience. Much of our suffering is born not from what actually happens, but from the fear of what might happen. Worry is like a shadow that grows larger than the object it comes from, consuming our energy and clouding our joy. We imagine the worst possible outcomes, and in resisting them, we exhaust ourselves. Yet the paradox is this: the more we run from the thought of pain, the more it controls us. The wisdom traditions, especially in Buddhism, remind us of a profound truth. Everything is impermanent. Joy and sorrow, success and failure, health and sickness, all are temporary visitors on the path of life. Nothing stays forever, not even our hardest trials. When we deeply accept this impermanence, we loosen our grip on fear. We understand that even the worst moments will eventually pass, just as seasons change and storms fade into calm skies. Acceptance does not mean resignation. It is not about giving up or passively enduring whatever comes. Instead, acceptance is an act of courage. It is the willingness to face reality as it is, without denial, without resistance, and without clinging to how we wish it would be. In this way, acceptance frees us from the chains of anxiety and gives us the clarity to respond wisely. Imagine bracing yourself against a strong river current, pushing with all your strength to resist its flow. The more you fight, the more exhausted and panicked you become. But if you let go and float with the current, you may find that it carries you safely downstream. Life's difficulties often work the same way. When we stop fighting against the possibility of hardship and instead accept it as part of the river of existence, we conserve our strength and discover inner calm. This practice also develops resilience. Every time we accept hardship, we train our minds to remain steady amid uncertainty. Rather than being paralyzed by fear, we learn to adapt, to find meaning, and to keep moving forward. Resilience is not the absence of difficulty. It is the strength to walk through difficulty without losing ourselves. Consider the worst-case scenario you fear the most. What if you lose something you love, face rejection, or experience failure? The mind trembles at these thoughts, yet if you breathe deeply and imagine yourself accepting them, you may notice that the fear begins to shrink. By mentally embracing the possibility of the worst, you rob it of its power over you. You remind yourself, even if that happens, I will endure. I will grow. I will not be destroyed. This perspective transforms suffering. It does not erase pain, but it dissolves the extra suffering we create by resisting pain. When hardship comes, we meet it with calm determination rather than panic. We see it as a teacher rather than an enemy. And in doing so, we cultivate wisdom that no book or lecture could ever give. Ultimately, embracing the worst is not about seeking out suffering. It is about no longer being enslaved by the fear of it. Life will bring both sunshine and storms. We cannot control the weather of existence, but we can learn to carry an umbrella with grace. When we meet every situation, even the painful ones, with acceptance, our hearts become free. And in that freedom, we discover the unshakable peace that has been within us all along. Imagine a world where the judgments and opinions of others simply slide off you, leaving your mind undisturbed, much like water rolling off a duck's feathers. In this world, the true treasures of life aren't measured in possessions or external approval. They are quietly present in the richness of your daily experiences. In today's video, we will explore awareness of the dangers of wealth as part of 9 transformative lessons from Buddhist teachings, lessons that guide us to live fully, nurture inner peace, and cultivate wisdom and compassion. Health is perhaps the most precious gift we often overlook. The ability to breathe freely, move our bodies, and experience life without pain is a miracle we rarely pause to appreciate. Buddhist wisdom gently reminds us that true wealth is not found in material accumulation, but in contentment, gratitude, and meaningful connections. Imagine for a moment savoring the warmth of sunlight on your skin during a morning walk, or the quiet laughter shared with someone you care about. These seemingly ordinary moments are, in fact, treasures, rich beyond any bank balance, profound beyond the temporary thrill of luxury. Loyalty and authentic relationships are treasures that no currency can secure. The bonds we nurture with care, honesty, and trust form the foundation of lasting happiness. Unlike material wealth, which fades with time, the love and support of others sustain us through life's inevitable challenges. By recognizing the true nature of wealth, we shift focus from the pursuit of external validation to the cultivation of inner fulfillment. Contentment becomes an active practice, one that transforms how we experience every day, inviting patience, mindfulness, and empathy into our hearts. Even the smallest gestures, sharing a smile, offering help to a friend, or enjoying the subtle beauty of nature, hold incredible value. In Buddhism, being aware of the dangers of wealth is not about rejecting material comforts entirely, but about understanding their impermanent nature and refusing to let them dominate our minds. By embracing health, gratitude, and genuine human connection, we anchor ourselves in a form of prosperity that is enduring, resilient, and deeply nourishing. Ultimately, the lesson reminds us that real richness comes from noticing and appreciating what is already present. Every breath, every moment of kindness, every shared experience becomes a thread in the tapestry of a life well lived. By nurturing our bodies, our hearts, and our relationships, we access a form of wealth far greater than any sum of money, a wealth that sustains joy, fosters peace, and cultivates inner wisdom. So as we begin this journey together, let us carry this awareness forward. Let us honor health as our greatest gift, gratitude as our guiding principle, and meaningful connection as the most enduring treasure. In doing so, we prepare to explore not only the dangers of chasing material wealth, but the true path to a life of lasting abundance, deep satisfaction, and unshakable inner peace. After learning the courage to accept life's darkest possibilities, our perspective on challenges begins to change. Instead of seeing difficulties as threats, we start to recognize them as teachers. And so, we will move into the next part of our journey today. Failure, the silent teacher of growth. Because in every stumble and fall, life offers us a lesson that cannot be found in success alone. Each day presents us with a new opportunity to learn, to try again, and to grow. Yet we often fear failure as if it were a final judgment of our worth. We see it as proof that we are not enough, that we are broken, or that we should stop trying. But the truth is the opposite. Failure is not the end of the path. It is part of the path itself. Like stepping stones across a river, failures guide us toward the other side, shaping our steps and making us more sure-footed. Failure, when embraced with openness, becomes a sculptor of character. Just as a block of marble must be chiseled and struck to reveal the statue within, our lives are shaped by the blows of setbacks and disappointments. Each mistake chips away at arrogance, impatience, or self-doubt, slowly revealing the strength, humility, and resilience hidden within us. Without these chisels of experience, we remain unformed, untested, and unaware of our true potential. It is natural to feel pain when we fail. The sting of disappointment, the weight of embarrassment, the ache of lost dreams. All of these are real. But pain is not the enemy. Pain is the fire that forges us. Think of an athlete whose muscles tear in training. It is precisely this tearing and healing that builds strength. In the same way, the failures that hurt us most also have the potential to strengthen us most deeply. When we begin to look at failure through this lens, we stop asking, "Why did this happen to me?" and instead ask, "What can this teach me?" This shift transforms failure from a source of shame into a source of wisdom. Each setback whispers lessons about patience, adaptability, creativity, and endurance. And over time, these whispers accumulate into a voice of wisdom that guides us with clarity. Failure also teaches us courage. To risk failing is to dare greatly. Every inventor, artist, or leader who has left a mark on the world did so not by avoiding mistakes, but by embracing them as part of the creative process. Thomas Edison, reflecting on his thousands of failed experiments, once said he had not failed. He had simply found thousands of ways that did not work. Each misstep brought him closer to the breakthrough that would eventually light up the world. Our own lives may not be filled with inventions or discoveries, but the principle is the same. Every time we try, fall, and rise again, we honor the spirit of courage within us. We prove to ourselves that failure is not fatal, but a stepping stone toward growth. Moreover, failure connects us with others in a deeply human way. Success often inspires admiration, but failure invites empathy. When we share our struggles and mistakes, we allow others to see our vulnerability, and this vulnerability creates genuine connection. It reminds us that we are not alone, that everyone stumbles, and that together we can rise stronger. Ultimately, failure teaches us self-discovery. It strips away illusions and forces us to confront who we are beyond our achievements. In the silence after disappointment, we find the strength of our values, the depth of our resilience, and the courage of our spirit. To embrace failure, then, is to embrace life itself, raw, unpolished, and infinitely instructive. So, let us walk forward not with fear of falling, but with faith in the lessons hidden within each fall. For failure is not the opposite of success. It is the soil from which success grows. And those who dare to fail are the ones who discover, step by step, the fullness of their own humanity. After exploring how failure becomes a silent teacher of growth, we begin to see that life itself is constantly shaping us through triumphs, mistakes, joys, and losses. Yet behind all these experiences lies one undeniable truth. Our time is finite. And so we will move into the next part of our journey today. Remembering death, a gentle reminder to live fully. For the awareness of death is not meant to fill us with despair, but to awaken us to the preciousness of each moment. Death is the great equalizer. No matter how rich, powerful, or wise we become, none of us can escape its call. This truth can feel heavy, even frightening. But if we turn away from it, pretending we will live forever, we risk wasting our days on trivialities that do not truly matter. To remember death is not to be morbid, it is to be deeply alive. It is to see clearly that each sunrise is a gift, each conversation a treasure, each breath a miracle. The reminder of mortality brings urgency to how we use our time and energy. It challenges us to ask, what is truly worthy of my life in this short span? Should I spend my days chasing approval, possessions, or distractions that will fade? Or should I invest in love, in connection, in wisdom, the things that death cannot erase? These questions are not meant to burden us, but to guide us toward what really matters. When we live with death in mind, we stop postponing life. We stop saying, I'll love more tomorrow, or I'll follow my dreams someday. Instead, we realize that someday is uncertain, but today is here. Today is the only canvas we are given, and every choice we make paints the picture of our life. Far from making us fearful, remembering death can free us. It frees us from pettiness, from grudges, from the illusion that we have endless time to waste. Suddenly, the things that once felt so important, the small arguments, the fleeting desires, lose their weight. What remains are the things of real substance: kindness, honesty, courage, compassion. Imagine carrying a lantern as you walk through a dark forest. The awareness of death is like that lantern. It doesn't remove the darkness, but it helps you see the path. It doesn't erase uncertainty, but it shows you where to place your next step with clarity. With this light, you begin to live not in fear of endings, but in gratitude for the journey itself. Many spiritual traditions speak of death as a teacher. Buddhism, for instance, teaches that impermanence is the nature of all things. Everything we love, everything we achieve, everything we experience, eventually it passes. Rather than resisting this truth, wisdom invites us to embrace it. By accepting impermanence, we learn to hold life gently, savoring its beauty without clinging. This acceptance also deepens our relationships. When we remember that time is short, we become more present with those we love. We listen more attentively, speak more kindly, forgive more easily. We no longer take people for granted because we know that every meeting, every hug, every word could be the last. And in that awareness, love becomes richer, more urgent, more real. The thought of death also invites us inward. It reminds us to ask, when my journey ends, what kind of person will I have been? Will I have lived with integrity? Will I have grown in wisdom and compassion? Will my life have left behind ripples of love rather than regret? These reflections are not about fear, but about direction. They help us live in alignment with our deepest values. Ultimately, remembering death is remembering life. To deny death is to live shallowly, half asleep. To face death is to live awake, with open eyes and an open heart. It is to walk each day knowing it is both fragile and sacred. And when we live this way, we no longer dread the end, because we have already lived fully along the way. So let us hold death not as an enemy, but as a quiet companion, a reminder whispering, do not waste this chance. Love deeply, live wisely, be present now. For when we remember the end, we finally begin to live. Death reminds us that time is not infinite. That is why, instead of waiting for some distant day to truly live, we must learn to cherish and embrace each day as it comes. And for this reason, we will move into the next part. Living fully in each day. Each moment of the present is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. It cannot be repeated, nor can it be retrieved once it passes. Too often we waste our days in regret for the past or anxiety about the future. We replay old mistakes like broken records, or we project worries about what has not yet come. In doing so, we drain the energy of the present, and with it, we lose the only chance we have to live fully. Living fully each day does not mean seeking constant excitement or chasing pleasures. Rather, it means cultivating awareness, the kind of presence that notices the small miracles around us. The rhythm of our breath, the warmth of the sun, the laughter of a child, the kindness of a stranger. These are not trivial details. They are the essence of life itself. To miss them is to miss life. Mindfulness becomes the practice that anchors us in this truth. By breathing consciously, by eating slowly, by listening deeply, we begin to rediscover the richness hidden in ordinary moments. A sip of water, when savored with awareness, becomes refreshing medicine. A simple conversation, when listened to fully, becomes an act of love. The practice of mindfulness transforms the mundane into the sacred, the fleeting into the eternal. When we live this way, joy arises naturally. We no longer chase happiness as something outside ourselves. Instead, we uncover it within the very fabric of daily life. Contentment blooms not because everything is perfect, but because we are present enough to see the perfection already here. This joy is quiet but unshakable, a wellspring that does not depend on circumstances but on awareness. Living fully each day also prepares the foundation for a better future. When we are present, we make wiser choices. We plant seeds of kindness, patience, and compassion in our relationships and work. These seeds, tended to each day, grow into a future that reflects peace and fulfillment. The present moment, then, is not just about today, it is the soil from which tomorrow blossoms. There will always be temptations to wander into regret or fear. The mind is skilled at pulling us backward into what could have been, or forward into what might go wrong. But every time we notice this and gently return to the present, we reclaim our power. We remind ourselves the past is memory, the future is possibility, but the present is life itself. To live fully each day is, in essence, to say yes to life as it is. Not waiting for perfect conditions, not postponing joy, not bargaining with time. It is saying yes to this breath, this step, this moment. And when we practice this yes often enough, life becomes a series of gifts unwrapped in real time, each one precious beyond measure. Ultimately, living fully each day is both a discipline and a liberation. It requires practice, but the reward is immeasurable. A life without wasted time, a heart without heavy regret, and a spirit that is deeply at peace. When we embrace each moment as it comes, we not only live more fully, we also love more deeply, learn more openly, and leave behind a life that is rich with meaning. So let us not wait for some distant day to live. Let us choose now. For the present moment is not only all we have, it is all we will ever need. As we come to the end of this journey together, let us pause and gather the essence of what we have explored. These 9 principles are not mere ideas, but living practices, gentle yet powerful tools that can guide us toward peace, resilience, and true wisdom. They remind us that life does not ask us to escape its storms, but to walk through them with clarity of mind and openness of heart. To live by these principles is to live with courage. It is to face criticism without hatred, to walk with humility, to refuse to surrender your life to the control of others, to listen deeply, to accept what is difficult, to learn from failure, to remember that death is inevitable, to live fully in each day, and to embrace every moment as a sacred gift. And when we truly embody them, life changes. The noise of the world loses its power to disturb us. We no longer chase after what is fleeting or cling to what is fading. Instead, we become like a calm lake, reflecting the sky, holding both sunlight and storm with the same quiet grace. But remember, this is not just about listening or nodding in agreement. It is about practice. Every breath you take is a chance to begin again. Every step is an opportunity to return to presence. Every moment is a new invitation to live with awareness and love. So I ask you now, What is the one principle that touched your heart most deeply today? Take a moment to reflect and share it in the comments below. Let this space be not just a channel, but a community, a circle of souls supporting one another on the path of awakening. And if these words have spoken to you, if they have stirred even a spark of insight or peace within you, then do not keep it to yourself. Like, share, and subscribe so that together we can continue to unfold these timeless lessons. Each video is not the end of a teaching, but the beginning of another step, another doorway into wisdom. I promise you, the journey does not stop here. In the next videos, we will dive deeper into practices that not only change the way you think, but transform the way you live. There are still rivers of wisdom waiting, and together we will drink from them, slowly, deeply, gratefully. Until then, carry these 9 principles with you as companions. Let them be your guide when the road feels uncertain, your strength when life grows heavy, your light when the night is long. And above all, remember, peace is not found somewhere outside. It is already here within you, waiting to be lived. So let us close with silence in the heart, hope in the soul, and a vow to live not half asleep, but fully awake, deeply aware, and endlessly alive.